RLCraft has finally been made available for Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and it's completely different to the original, including new mobs, new bosses and dungeons to explore, and a reworked skill tree, all while still upholding the classic RLCraft principles. Said principles being your immediate demise and constant struggle for survival, alongside a challenging and rewarding progression system focused around combat and exploration, with the hopes of one day becoming OP. In this video, I'll be sharing my tips and tricks I've picked up so far to help you progress and enrich your gameplay in one way or another. One of the most noticeable differences between Bedrock and Java RLCraft is the inability to see crafting recipes right off the bat, as you need to unlock these recipes first unless you already know them beforehand, so I'll be including the relevant crafting recipes in the tips I mentioned. Let's get started with your early game gear for exploration and survival. As soon as you're able to, try and get your hands on a shield as quickly as possible. This will require 6 pieces of wood and 1 iron ingot, as well as level 11 in defense, and will allow you to block incoming attacks whenever you crouch. Alongside a shield, I would also recommend crafting yourself a spear, as they have less level requirements than a sword and are also cheaper to craft. Craft yourself a sleeping bag, as this will enable you to skip nights in your current location without setting your spawn point. This will require 3 wool and 2 leather. Crafting a bucket is crucial in the early game. This allows you to carry water with you to not only quench your thirst, but also cool yourself down and also push mobs away when you're in a pinch. You can also use this to carry lava with you, so you can warm yourself up in colder biomes. There's no atlas for world exploration at the moment in Bedrock Edition, so you'll have to make use of vanilla maps. I recommend making a locator map so that you can actually see where you are, which is a compass surrounded by paper. Afterwards, pop this into a cartography table with some paper and upgrade it to the maximum size. For the amount of exploration required in RLCraft, vanilla maps are pretty terrible, so I very early on just started simply exploring without a map and just placing warpstones or renaming nearby existing warpstones that have any points of interest or dungeons that might be nearby. Backpacks can be found quite often just by exploring in general. However, if you do find yourself unlucky enough to have not found a backpack, you can craft them like this. Simply a chest surrounded by 8 leather. From there, you can upgrade your small backpack by using the same recipe and adding the backpack once more into the bottom. This will then upgrade it to a medium-sized backpack, and then you can do this once more in order to upgrade it to a large backpack. Whenever you sleep, the backpack will drop off from your character, which will require you to re-equip the backpack each time you wake up, which I personally find quite annoying. So therefore, I don't really use the backpack. Instead, I use a few bundles in order to organize my inventory. Alongside bundles, I also keep 1 shulker box in my inventory, since I can always place my full bundles inside there. And then as a last resort, I keep 1 backpack stored inside of my shulker box, so I can always remove this and use this if needed. Bundles are very easy to make. All you need is 1 leather and 1 string. Since we are no longer playing RLCraft Java Edition, there is no Optifine mod, which means no easy zoom hotkey. So therefore, if you want to zoom for exploring, you'll need to make yourself the vanilla Minecraft spyglass. You can make a spyglass with 1 amethyst shard and 2 copper ingots. To keep yourself patched up in the early game, you'll want to carry some bandages on you. You can simply craft bandages by using 2 plant rope fibers and 2 bone meal. And now, let's have a look at the new skill tree. In RLCraft Bedrock, there are 4 categories. First one being melee, second being defense, third agility, and 4 mining. They all max out at level 50, and every 10 points that you chuck into them, you'll unlock a new passive skill. So if you go down melee, At level 10, your attacks gain a 20% chance to deal critical damage. At level 20, your attacks gain a 10% chance to inflict a stun. At level 30, your attacks gain a 50% chance to damage multiple enemies. At level 40, your attacks heal you for 1 heart per 10 damage you inflict, which is really nice because that is lifesteal. And finally, at level 50, your attacks gain 50% extra damage. Popping over to defense, at level 10, when hit, return equal amount of damage to the attacker, so Thorns damage. At level 20, receive 2 hearts per 10 armor levels. At level 30, reinforce each of your body parts by 0.5 armor points per 5 armor levels. At level 40, when hit, you have a 15% chance to heal 5 hearts back. And at level 50, you can avoid death once every 5 minutes. In agility, at level 10, you will unlock speed 1 permanently. At level 20, your range attacks have a 20% chance to apply levitation. At level 30, your ranged attacks have a 50% chance to deal critical damage. At level 40, you gain a 10% chance to dodge incoming attacks, increased by 5% per 5 agility levels. And at level 50, you no longer take fall damage, and you cannot run out of arrows, which is literally the infinity enchant right there. Over in mining, at level 10, you gain haste 2 permanently. At level 20, when mining obsidian, you gain haste 4. At level 30, you restore 1 hunger and 1 thirst bar for every 10 blocks you mine. At level 40, you gain a 0.5% chance to get valuable materials when mining stone. And at level 50, gain 2 luck permanently, which is really big for finding higher quality loot throughout the game. Now heading into base building. When building your base, be sure to build in a temperate biome, unless you, for some reason, enjoy freezing or frying all of the time. You'll also want to have a warp stone around your base, so either move into a merchant's house, or alternatively you can also get your own. You can buy a warp stone from the cowboy vendor for 20 silver, or you can also craft your own using 6 stone, 2 void steel ingots and a teleport scroll. It's also a good idea to have some passive healing around your base, so grab yourself a lead, find a purple fairy and then trap her in a boat. I don't know if it's because I'm playing on hard difficulty or if this is just the way it's meant to be, but I have been absolutely plagued by constant boss spawns around my base. And so I had to find a solution. And my solution? To build a pit trap. Oracle the Orc for one was a frequent visitor, which I eventually started looking forward to, since he normally gave me 2 to 3 books worth 15 experience each, and some trinkets like the Ring of Regeneration. If you'd like to try building your own pit trap, simply dig a hole that is 3 by 3 and at least 7 blocks deep. At the bottom, add 9 blocks of magma, and then add a few trapdoors, as you can see on screen. Now let's have a look at the more advanced gear. There are absolutely loads of weapons to choose from. A lot of them have got different elemental types, added damage, or a secondary attack, or both. Too many for me to go through them all one by one in this video. But just as a quick example of one of these, I have been using Stormbreak, which does 38 flat damage along with lightning aspect, so it does added lightning damage as well. Stormbreak is simply the upgraded version of Whirlwind, which you can make with 1 stick, 1 thunderstone and 1 air essence. Once you have Whirlwind, you can then upgrade this using 1 power crystal and 1 thunderstone, and voila, you there have Stormbreak, which is the upgraded version. Throughout your adventure, you will find the 4 different types of runestones. These are simply consumable, and when used give you +1 into the relevant skill category, as if you were spending those levels in experience. I'd strongly recommend holding onto these up until the late game to save you on the exorbitant amount of XP cost to try and reach level 50 in your skill categories. Next up, let's have a look at trinkets. We all have a trinket bag and we can equip 6 trinkets in total. There is 3 on the left for body related trinkets and 3 on the right, which is exclusively for rings. There are loads of trinkets which can either be crafted or found in the world, including 3 legendary class trinkets. The first 2 trinkets can't be crafted and can only be found in-world. That will be the Cyclops Eye, which gives you blindness resistance and darkness resistance, as well as the Teddy Bear of Comfort, which gives you regeneration 1. Now moving on to the craftable trinkets, first up we have the Ancient Root, which gives you slowness resistance. This can be crafted simply with 4 Ancient Sprouts and 1 Power Shard. After that we have the Antidote Vial, which gives you poison resistance. This can be crafted with 3 Ancient Sprouts, 2 Scarlet Roots, 3 Scorpion Tails, and 1 glass bottle. Blessed Water. This gives you wither resistance, and this can be made with 2 Wither Bones, 4 Gold Ingots, 2 Divine Prophecies, and 1 glass bottle. The Skullcranker. This gives you levitation resistance. This can be made with 2 Shulker Shells and 1 Void Steel Ingot. And you can make Void Steel Ingots by using 4 Shadowstone and 1 Power Crystal. Power Crystal can simply be made by adding 9 Power Shards in the crafting grid. The Dragon Eye gives you fire resistance, night vision, and darkness resistance, and this can be made with 2 Shadowstone, 3 Void Steel Ingots, the Cyclops Eye, 2 Power Shards, and 1 Power Crystal. Next we have the Feather of Swiftness, which gives you Speed 2 and Slow Falling 2, and this is one of my personal favorites for exploring the world by foot. You can make this with 6 emeralds, 2 quick finger rings, and a feather. Goat Horns simply gives you mining fatigue resistance. You can make this with 2 Power Shards, 1 Power Crystal, and 2 Goat Horns. However, it's much easier finding this bauble by killing the King Goat that you can find in game quite frequently. Great Shield gives you knockback resistance and health boost 1. You can make this with 6 iron ingots, 2 iron blocks, and a shield. The Great Horn Shield would be the upgraded version, and you can make this with the Great Shield along with the Goat Horns and then 1 Power Crystal. This gives you knockback resistance, mining fatigue resistance, and health boost 1. The Eternal Ember. This is the one you'll want to make if you are living in a cold biome or find that you're freezing. This gives you cold resistance, and you can make this with 4 Power Shards, 4 Fire Essence, and a simple piece of coal. The opposite to that would be Eternal Ice, which gives you heat resistance if you are living in, let's say, the desert or are exploring the Nether. You can make Eternal Ice using 4 Power Shards, 4 Ice Essence, and 1 piece of blue ice, and that will of course give you heat resistance. The Mining Amulet simply gives you haste 1, and you can make this with 3 iron ingots, 2 gold ingots, and an Echo Shard. Next we got the Ring of Jump. Simply gives you jump boost 2. You can make this with an iron ring, 2 air essence, and 1 emerald. The Ring of Regeneration. I find myself wearing this one most of the time because it's so useful. Of course, gives you regeneration 1. You can make this with 1 golden ring, 2 health shards, and 1 health crystal. Next up we have the Ring of Resistance. This one is very expensive. You'll need a netherite ring, 2 void steel ingots, and 1 heavy core. And that will of course give you resistance 1, which in regular Minecraft is 20% damage reduction per level or 15% damage reduction in RLCraft Java Edition. Quick Finger simply gives you speed 1, very cheap to make. You just need 1 lapis ring, 2 air essence, and 1 emerald. The Ring of Strength gives you strength 1, that is a golden ring, 2 redstone dusts, and 1 heavy core. The Withering Necklace simply gives you Wither Aspect 1 on your attacks, which is 3 Witherbone, 2 Power Shards, and 1 gold ingot. And next up we have the 3 legendary trinkets, starting with the Panacea trinket. This gives you blind resistance, slowness resistance, poison resistance, wither resistance, mining fatigue resistance, and levitation resistance. You can make this with the Cyclops Eye, 1 power crystal, the antidote vial, 1 ancient root, a dragon skull fragment, the blessed water trinket, the shulker anchor, 1 divine prophecy, and the goat horns. After that we have the dragon slayer cloak. This gives you blindness resistance, slowness resistance, poison resistance, wither resistance, knockback resistance, explosion resistance, fire resistance, and mining fatigue resistance. You can make this with 5 pieces of red wool, the Panacea, 2 pieces of void steel, and then the dragon skull. And lastly we have the dragon slayer ring. This one gives you strength 2, health boost 5, and resistance level 1. You can make this with the ring of resistance, the quick finger ring, the ring of strength, the ring of regeneration, and then 4 pieces of dragon bone. When hunting for good enchantments, remember that in Bedrock, villager resetting is completely legal again, at least for the moment that is. The teleport scroll can't be crafted, but it can be purchased from merchant as well as found as loot during your explorations. This will simply teleport you to your last spawn point. The recall potion will teleport you to your last death location and is the Bedrock equivalent to the death scroll in Java Edition. This is pretty expensive to make, however you can make this with 3 pieces of glass, 1 void steel ingot, and a teleport scroll. Next up we have the recovery compass, which once again is pretty expensive to make in the early game. The recovery compass functions just like a regular compass, however it of course points to your last death location. You can make one of these with 8 pieces of echo shard and a single compass. Another option for exploring the world by compass is simply using a lodestone compass. Place a lodestone in the middle of your base and then right click it with a compass and you'll have a compass that always points towards your base. There are many different items throughout the game that can be traded. When hovering over them, you can see a lot of them will have a trading value displayed. You can use these to trade and exchange with the merchants and also level them up in order to unlock the next tier. What's also worth noting is that you can convert bronze coins into silver coins and silver coins into gold coins and vice versa. There are 11 merchants in-game currently that all buy and sell various goods. So let's have a wee look at them and see what they trade. Starting with the Dark Sensei merchant. This guy trades Knight's Orders, Orcish Notes, Dwarven Tomes, and Divine Prophecy for gold. Then getting to Apprentice, it will sell different enchants. These will normally always be different and are random. And at level 3 at Journeyman level, he will trade gold for bottles of enchanting and also experience terms that give you 15 levels each. After that, at Expert level, for 1 power crystal and some gold coins, you can buy the 4 different types of runestones. Next we have the Merchant Orc, and he trades leather, rabbit hide, nether quartz, nautilus shell, shulker shell, and books for copper coins. After that, at Apprentice level, he will trade silver for bandages, flasks of healing, a sleeping bag, and also teleport scroll. The teleport scroll of course being the most useful here, since we can't craft those currently. And then at Journeyman level, he will buy box of pelts, pirate cloth, heart of the sea, ancient sprouts, ancient plates, and that's it, 4 silver coins. Once he reaches expert level, he will sell you a golden spear and iron spear, which is not too worth in my opinion. And then finally, once he reaches master tier, he will sell you a conduit for 12 gold coins. Next we have Harry the merchant, and Harry buys leather, rabbit hide, nether quartz, nautilus shell, shulker shell, and books, all for copper coins. At level 2, he will for silver coins sell you bandages, flasks of healing, sleeping bag, and once again teleport scroll. Level 3 journeyman, he will buy box of pals, pirate cloth, heart of the sea, ancient sprouts, and ancient plates for silver coin. And an expert, he will sell you an iron sword and shadow rain for gold coins. And at level 5, at master level, he will also sell you this Cyclops Eye trinket. Next we have the wizard Gerlo merchant, and he will buy earth essence, air essence, water essence, ice essence, and fire essence, all for silver coin. At apprentice level, he will sell you earth essence, air essence, water essence, ice essence, and fire essence for gold coins and a power shard. And at level 3, he will sell you the eternal ice and eternal ember trinkets in exchange for gold. Next up we have the white sensei merchant. He will buy Knight's Order, Orcish Note, Dwarven Tome, and Divine Prophecy for gold. At level 2, he will, for gold coins, sell you random enchanted books yet again. At level 3, he will sell you bottles of enchanting and experience stones for gold. And at level 4, for a power crystal and gold, he will sell you the 4 different rune stones yet again. Now we have the Dragon Hunter merchant. He will buy Dragon Bone and Dragon Skull fragments in exchange for gold. And then they will also, in exchange for one type of dragon scale along with 5 gold, he will convert that into a different color scale for you. And at level 3, for gold and the matching resource, he will sell you Iron Dragon Armor, Gold Dragon Armor, Diamond Dragon Armor, and of course Netherite Dragon Armor. The Captain Merchant. He will buy leather, rabbit hide, nether quartz, nautilus shell, shulker shell, and books in exchange for copper coins. He will also sell you all of the previous ones that we've gone over before, along with the teleport scroll being the most important. He will buy box of pals, pirate cloth, heart of the sea, ancient sprouts, and ancient plates for silver coin. And at expert, he will sell you a golden spear and also shadow rain once again. And at master, the Cyclops Eye trinket. Next we have the Ant Woman merchant. She buys diamonds or potion of invisibility, or diamonds for emeralds, or blaze rods for emeralds, or emeralds for apples. She's quite unique in that she never levels up, however she does reset, so you can keep on selling these indefinitely. Next up we have the Witch merchant. She will buy Spider Eye, Slime Ball, Armadillo Shoot, Turtle Shoot, Fermented Spider Eye, Wind Charge, Witherbone, and Scorpion Tail, all for copper coins. Soon as she reaches level 2 in Apprentice, for silver coin, she will sell you Gas Tier, Nether Wart, Flask of Healing, Brewing Stand, and Blaze Powder. And then at level 3, for gold, she will sell you potions of speed, strength, instant health, fire resistance, invisibility, bottle of healing, and also a healing draft. And then lastly, a recall potion, this again being the most valuable. And then finally, at expert, for gold coins, she will also sell you the antidote vial. The Divine Island merchant. He will buy Knight's Order, Orcish Note, Dwarven Tome, and the Divine Prophecy, all for gold. At level 2, just like the other ones, he will sell you different types of enchanted books for gold coins. This one's selling me Mending, Unbreaking, and so on, which are pretty good actually. And at level 3, he does sell Bottle of Enchanting as well as Experience Tomes. And at level 4, once again, for Power Crystals and Gold Coins, he will sell you the 4 different types of Runestones. And lastly, we have the Cowboy Merchant. The Cowboy Merchant buys Emerald, Amethyst, Nether Quartz, and Iron, all for copper. And then at level 2, he will sell you bandages, flasks of healing, and the Warp Stone. The Warp Stone obviously being the main thing of interest here. After that, he will sell you some pickaxes, which is kinda meh. At level 3, he will buy gold, diamond, echo shard, netherite scrap, and netherite ingot for silver and gold. And I would never take this trade, I would never sell nether items, to be honest. And then lastly, at the very end, for gold coins, he will also sell you the mining amulet. And then that is all of the current merchants in the game. And now let's have a look at a few methods of transportation for exploration. You can of course always travel by foot. In fact, if you wear the Feather of Swiftness, you can actually cover a lot of ground by foot. But there are of course alternative methods. When traveling the ocean, you can of course always go with a good old-fashioned boat. However, alternatively, throughout most of the world within water, you will find hippocampus spawning. You can simply right-click these and use them as an ocean mount in order to explore. Throughout the world, you will frequently come across these lizards, not to be confused with the crocodiles. You can simply place a saddle on these and then use these as a transportation method across the land, just like you would a regular Minecraft horse. The Eris is an extremely rare spawn that can be found in the Minecraft Extreme Hills biome. So rare in fact that you'll most likely only find one of these after you already have a dragon mount. If you're lucky enough to find one of these, you can simply right-click them to ride them and you'll have yourself a flying mount. The next thing to remember, especially for Java RLCraft players, is that we are no longer in the older version of Minecraft. So head on into Nether and you can find yourself a dried gas, which you can then use as your first mode of air transportation, up until you eventually upgrade into a dragon mount. Obtaining a dragon mount is a lot easier in Bedrock Edition than it is in Java Edition. In order to get yourself a dragon mount, you simply have to defeat a dragon, and then you'll be given the option to either slay the dragon for its parts, or spare the dragon, in which case it will become your mount. Simply place a saddle on top of your dragon and then you're all good to go. Bear in mind you can also equip them with dragon armor, and the dragon armor can also be enchanted. In my survival world, I've added myself a rooftop landing pad, which has been quite convenient, equipped with one healing fairy to keep my boys healed up in between adventures. In RLCraft Bedrock Edition there are 9 different types of dragons, excluding the end dragon. The different types are poison dragons, ice dragons, dark dragons, nature dragons, earth dragons, water dragons, lightning dragons, fire dragons, and lastly air dragons. If you're not a fan of mounts and you'd rather explore the world solo, then why don't you give this a try? Grab yourself a pair of Elytra and then pair it with the weapon Erythrol. You can use the secondary attack of Erythrol to keep yourself launched just like you would with firework rockets, allowing you to explore the world at high speed. We can then take this one step further by equipping the Swiftness Trinket. This will slow us down significantly and effectively put you in cruise control, allowing you to survey the land and identify any potential points of interest. Erythrol only requires 23 levels in melee, and you can craft this with 1 stick, 2 glowstone dust, and 2 air essence. Also, try and avoid any of the trinkets that give you knockback resistance, as this currently interferes with the ability to launch yourself. Once you start entering the realm of dragon tier gear, you can start looking at some different weapons and gear. For example, if you look for a dragon bone longsword, you can craft one of these using 2 dragon bone, 2 power shards, and a blaze rod. And then once again you can upgrade this into something like Ember Song, which has fire aspect as well as dragon bane, which are both added damage, but dragon bane specifically adds added damage when fighting dragons. Ember Song can be made through a dragon bone longsword, 3 flaming dragon spirits, and 3 power shards. Now let's have a look at the dragon tier armor. The armor have got different set bonuses as well as level requirements, so let's start with the lowest. Dragonbone armor has a 25 level requirement and will give you +1 limb protection per piece. When wearing the full set, this will give you +1 knockback resistance as well as +1 resistance. The brown dragon set armor has a level 30 requirement and each piece will also give you +1 limb protection and +1 knockback resistance for wearing the full set, as well as +1 resistance. The Black Dragon armor set has a level requirement of 40, and each piece also gives you +1 limb protection, and for wearing the full set you get +1 knockback resistance, +1 blindness resistance, as well as +1 darkness resistance. The Blue Dragon set has a level requirement of 45. Each piece also gives you +1 limb protection, and for wearing the full set you get +1 knockback resistance, +1 heat resistance, and +1 resistance. The Green Dragon set also has a level requirement of 45, giving you +1 limb protection per piece, as well as +1 knockback resistance, +1 poison resistance, and +1 resistance for wearing the full piece. And lastly, the Red Dragon set. This also has a level requirement of 45, each piece giving you +1 in limb protection, and when wearing the full set you get +1 knockback resistance, +1 frost resistance, as well as +1 resistance when wearing the full set. If you want to craft any of these armor sets, you will need some netherite. Starting with the Dragonbone helmet, you will need 4 Dragonbone and 1 netherite ingot. For the chest piece, you will need 7 Dragonbone and 1 netherite ingot. For the leggings, you will also need 7 Dragonbone and 1 netherite ingot. And for the boots, 4 bone and 1 netherite ingot. For the dragon armor sets, the recipe is pretty much the same, the only thing that differs is the color of the scales used in the recipe. So if we use the blue dragon helmet as an example, for this you'll need 2 Dragonbone, 5 blue dragon scales, and 1 netherite ingot. For the chest piece, you will need 7 scales, 1 Dragonbone, and 1 netherite ingot. For the leggings, 7 scales again, 1 netherite ingot. And for the boots, 4 scales, 2 bone, and 1 netherite ingot. While on the subject of dragon tier gear, there is one more legendary item that I do need to mention. This is pretty much the god sword of the game, and if you have got this sword, you can confidently say that you have beaten RLCraft Bedrock Edition. This sword is absolutely crazy and does a flat 60 damage, and also allows you to cycle between elements whenever you crouch. To craft this absolute monster of a weapon, you will need 5 of the previous tier weapons. Mainly, Landsplit, Erythril, Meteor Sword, Tide Piercer, as well as Stormbreak, and then 1 Dragon Skull, 1 Flaming Dragon Spirit, 1 Ice Dragon Spirit, and the Dragon Egg that you will obviously get from the End Dragon. Quick shout out to my favorite structure, which is essentially an upgraded desert temple. Not only are these quick and easy to loot, as long as you avoid the load of dynamite of course, but the quality of the loot can also be amazing, similar to the 4 chests at the end of boss dungeons. Although this might be a little hypocritical of me, I would actually recommend that most of you play the game on normal difficulty at the moment. Not that I find the game too difficult, but because on normal difficulty, you also get the tombstone that stores your items upon death. Of course, on hard difficulty, your items just fall on the ground as normal. The massive issue with this, however, is that for optimization, RLCraft occasionally deletes all items in the world, including in unloaded chunks. This feels really bad, especially if it happens right after you've died, leaving you no opportunity to reclaim your gear, as all items on the ground have now effectively been deleted. Next, I just want to show you guys a few visual settings that I've changed in order to make the game feel a bit more like Java Edition. When you first launch a game, it should look something like this, with the menus being absolutely massive. So to change that, let's go under settings, scroll on down to video. Then here you can set your field of view. I like 70 as my field of view, and then a bit further down, here is our GUI scale. Let's set that down to -1. The other thing I like to disable is lens flare, which can give you these like sudden and abrupt streaks of light across your screen. So to do this, we go under the RLCraft menu, go under Visual Settings. From there we disable Lens Flare and we enable Optimization. I also like my character health display to be on the bottom right hand corner rather than the top right. So to change that, we again go under Visual Settings, and then from here you can change this bottom one here, Body Parts Position Y. That'll change it all the way to the bottom right hand side, just like in Java Edition. I also don't like my coordinates showing all the time because they aren't made visible in Java Edition. So to change that, let's go under Settings. Under Game, you'll need to unlock it first, so unlock Template World Options. Yes, unlock all settings. And then you can scroll on down and disable Show Coordinates. Voila, voila, and there we go. And now your game should look like this. Much better, in my opinion. Now this final tip is for all my fellow Windows PC users. If you feel that your game feels quite draggy and laggy, that's because VSync is enabled. But you can't disable this inside the game settings, and VSync is just on by default by Bedrock, it seems. So we will instead need to disable VSync manually by heading to the following folder destination. Go underneath your C drive, in the users folder, then followed by your username, mine Zerger, yours will obviously be something else, app data, local, packages, Microsoft, all that, local state, games, com.mojang, and then finally Minecraft TPE. So your folder should look like this one here. Within this folder, open up the options.txt file, should open up with WordPad or something, and then we scroll on down, need to find a specific line, which is this one here, GFS_vsync. Yours should be set to 1, change that to 0, and then simply save the file and close it down. And now your VSync will be disabled and your game will feel a lot more smooth and responsive. RLCraft Bedrock has only been released for about 2 weeks, and I've only been playing it for around 1 at a time when making this video. So there will be new things added and changes made to existing content in future updates, so many of these tips might not be relevant as time goes on. Overall, I think it's a good add-on, even though this is my first time ever playing Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But as the game is as of right this moment, I feel like a lot more difficult components still need to be added to make it truly challenging. The current mobs in the game also don't quite fit in when compared to the terrifying creatures found in Java RLCraft. But that being said, bear in mind this is still a brand new pack, and Honeyfrost are releasing constant updates to improve the overall quality, fix existing bugs, and add new content. I'm also excited to see what changes Honeyfrost will make in the future and what additional content they will add to the game, especially what changes they will make to the Nether and the end dimensions, as these currently remain unchanged. Thank you everybody for watching, I hope you have yourselves a wonderful day and happy RL crafting, and this is Zerger saying goodbye and cheers.